is Midnight Alchemy with your alchemists, Jason Allen and Holly Jordan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are. This is Midnight Alchemy, and I am only 50% of your Midnight Alchemists. I am Jason Allen, and the other part of the dynamic duo is Holly Jordan. Hello, Holly.
Hey, Jason, we're back. Woohoo!
We are back. We had some technical difficulties here.
Just a couple.
Yeah, my computer decided it wanted to go bye-bye. And so, we held a service, we laughed, we cried, we played taps, and then we buried her out in the backyard. So Betsy is out there with a little headstone,
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm on Mitzi now, the backup. And
cool.
So we'll see.
Hey, Mitzi.
Yeah, we'll see if Mitzi is a good girl today.
Oh, I'm sure.
I am excited, Holly. We have got a awesome guest on tonight with a capital A. Yeah. And this is coming back after a week and a half. We're gonna go slam, and we're swinging for the fences tonight.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So let me introduce, shall we?
Yes, please do.
Yes, with us tonight, or today, or wherever you are, is Sarah Gamm. She is a image scientist by day, and by night, she is a psychic medium. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're so glad to have you here, Sarah.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much, and thanks for everybody joining as well.
Yeah. So you were in the wilds of Virginia. Did I get that straight?
I don't know about wilds. I'm just south of Washington, D.C.
Excellent.
I guess that is pretty wild.
In the Beltway. Do you're in D.C. Do you feel dirty because of all the politics going on?
I actually don't watch the news. I avoid that. So when I do hear of things, I'm like, this is why I don't watch the news.
Right.
Yeah. I am totally oblivious to the news. We could have had a nuclear apocalypse, and I wouldn't know the difference. I would just be getting on, good morning, good evening,
Right.
What are we doing? So, let's start off. Sarah, why don't you see? It's been a week and a half. I'm all over the place.
Would you like some help, Jason?
Oh, hold on. I'll try one more time. Look, a squirrel. Oh, anyway, Sarah, why don't you give us an intro to yourself? Explain what you do by day and by night, and just tell us who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am an image scientist during the day. So what that means is I look at satellite imagery. Satellites are from space. And it's a certain type of image called synthetic aperture radar, or SAR for short, kind of like sonar on a boat, black and white, fuzzy. Good job security, because people usually don't like to look at the images. But there's a lot of math and physics and science behind the images, and that comes into play with my undergrad. I'm an astrophysicist, so I love all of the math and science aspect of the imagery. And by night, I am a psychic medium. So I certified as a medium, or a psychic medium. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. I don't even, there's a time loop, like COVID year doesn't really count, does it?
Right.
So I don't know how to add math right now for years, but yes, I've been a certified medium, but I've had experiences with ghosts and other things like psychic visions and stuff like that pretty much my whole life.
Right.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Now we have to be careful, Holly, because I understand that you worked for the government for a while. So Sarah, if that is your real name, that is awesome, because you have quite the scientific background, right? Astrophysics. And so how do you reconcile the 2 + 2 = 4 = MC squared of the scientific approach with something as being a psychic medium?
Very good question. I also was raised religious, so I have that on my shoulders as well. And even going through undergrad, through physics, astronomy classes, when people would ask me, you know, with your religious background, do you believe that there's something else out there? And I'm like, why would we be selfish enough to think God only created us?
Right.
Or, you know, there's infinite amount of space. Why is it religion or science? Why is it two different things? Why can't they be one?
Right.
So that's kind of how I approach stuff now. So how I actually really started getting involved more often the past like couple years was through the UFO community. So I've been a part of the UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, the cool new term for UFOs. Through that group, I started getting more bold on letting people know that I am a psychic medium. I didn't come out for a couple of years to everybody just because growing up, it wasn't something that you talked about. So I eventually let them know, like, I actually have abilities. I have intuition. I can tell if people are lying. And so I eventually got comfortable with all of who I am. And so now I'm okay with whoever knows what. So some of my government groups that I still talk to, they definitely know everything about me now. And I'm smiling because it makes sense. It hasn't shocked anybody.
Well, that's cool. That's really, because that's not an easy transition. I worked for the government, but state government in Oregon for 23 years. And I can tell you, there's a tiny, minuscule handful of the people that I've known for most of my life that had any inkling that I did anything in the woo-woo department, as we call it. Because it's not normally socially acceptable, but like we met you at the Oregon Ghost Conference in March, and it was so delightful to be able to talk to you openly and have you introduce yourself as a psychic medium. That was a jolly moment for me, because
I loved it. And I talked about aliens. Like, how
right?
cool is that?
I know. It's like Jason had this aha moment that he shared of like, I look to the left, I look to the right, and I realized these are my people. It's like being in a room with so many like-minded people to talk about things that were forbidden was exciting. And so
and not be judged. Like that's what is amazing to me is like, we're still judged. And if somebody were to say, example, aliens exist. Let's say POTUS comes out tomorrow and says, we have proof aliens exist. Here's my buddy. He walks on stage, pats him on the back. There's still going to be people out there that are going to deny it because we can't accept it. We're not, like, some people just aren't ready for that. So I like where I am. I like my science brain. My science brain's always going to be first. So when I do a mediumship reading, I still ask myself questions. My ego steps in and I still doubt because of my science background. But I love that. Like, it's a healthy skepticism.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
It makes me always want to learn more and do more and keep going, because science, there's rules. There's the scientific process, the scientific method. There's E equals MC squared. Matter can't be created or destroyed, but matter can't be created or destroyed when it comes to spirit as well. Like, if a pin disappears, it's going to reappear somewhere else. Like, it can't be just gone, which I've had happen. And so I really like bridging both of the worlds. I feel like I do have a unique perspective, and I remember minute details, like in my training and in everything that I do. So I give a different description of stuff as well because of the science background.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that is wonderful. So can you start telling us a little bit about the first time that you had a really significant paranormal
first ghosty experience? I love it.
Yes. I want to hear all about it. We're excited.
Yes, I've always been involved with ghost stuff my whole life. I love R.L. Stein books growing up, werewolf stuff, vampire stuff, you name it, cryptids I was in, ghosts I was in, cemeteries.
Sweet.
So unfortunately, Ouija board, thankfully I survived all of those experiences.
Oh boy.
But my first actual experience with a ghost, I was 12 years old, roughly around 12, and my grandpa, his best friend, passed away in his sleep, lived just down the street from where my grandpa did.
Okay.
And my grandpa was the one that found him. So I grew up in this house as well. Both of my grandparents, it was their best friends that lived there.
Okay.
Eventually, house had been vacant for a while and somebody bought it. They're renting it out. And my best friend's family rented this house out. Her bedroom was this gentleman's. His name was Vic, short for Victor.
Okay.
And so I'm like, Jamie, this guy's bedroom is your bedroom. And she was like, we didn't really care. We were like, oh, let's get the Ouija board out. Let's play. Let's see if he needs to talk. And we would have so many experiences, not just with the Ouija board out, because of course that's going to work.
Right.
But we would have the shower water, like the shower turn on.
Yeah.
We would have faucets, different faucets. We had her bedroom door shaking one night and like a knob turning. That was when we were on the Ouija board. I'm pretty sure hindsight, Vic was telling us to stop it, young ladies. Get off of that board. But especially now that I definitely have abilities, right? I'm sure he was like, no, knock it off, young ones. But so one day we went rollerblading all the time. And we were putting rollerblades on, and I was lazy and put them on inside the house because of, there's a couch there to sit on while you're doing it instead of sitting on the ground. And the door to their house, you had to turn a knob and then kind of push a little bit, like it didn't just automatically open. You had to like nudge the door open a little bit, it's stuck, right? And I was kind of stumbling. I'm gravity challenged, so it's nothing new that I'm stumbling. And I actually saw the latch open as I was stumbling to the door, and the door opened for me. And I just said, thanks, Vic, I appreciate it. And stuff like that happened all the time when I was at her house. Her mom eventually told me that nothing happened unless I was there. So like, Sarah, nothing happens if you're not here. So that was my first experience. My first time ever seeing a ghost was many years later. Right. But yeah, so that was, and I would always tell him like, thanks, but you don't need to stick around. It's okay. And eventually she moved away out of the house. So
wow.
I never thought to check back to see if he moved on. I'm sure he did.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds very cool though. That sounds like it was a very positive, very innocent and simple way to kind of stick your toe in the water, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Good memory, because I knew who it was.
Well, that's amazing. That's really cool. Right. So then where'd you go from there?
I mean, cemeteries, I definitely have seen things, and then over the years, I had a grandma, aside of my grandparents, we were best friends. And my grandma passed away when I was kind of young. And by the time I was 14, I was having vivid dreams of her. So vivid dreams are something I would describe as it seemed like a real memory.
Okay.
But in the dream, I'm aware I'm dreaming. And I know she's there with me. I know she's passed on. So I started having those at 14 years old, and I would only have them of her. And she would come to me every few years. So that just kind of dominoed into eventually having some like psychic premonitions, but they were just for myself. Like I would just know something bad would happen in the day, and then I would sprain my ankle playing a sport or something. But I'm very accident prone, so that's nothing too abnormal. So I didn't think much into it.
Right.
And then I had a near-death experience, and went to heaven and did I knew I'd be fine. And when I came back to my body, doctors and everyone was freaking out. And I'm like, what's the deal? I'm going to be fine. Like, don't call my parents. They'll just get worried. Like, don't call them, please. And
oh my goodness, how old were you? When did that happen?
That was 11 years ago. So I was, how old am I now? 28.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow. So expound a little bit about that, because I mean that's
incredible.
Very dramatic, right? Traumatic, dramatic, all the matics. Did you see the classical light?
I did not. I was really upset I didn't see a light, but I could get to what I figured out, what I saw.
Okay.
But it was a routine sinus surgery and for deviated septum.
Okay.
Surgery went fine. Recovery room part did not. And I think my theory is I had the wrong dose of anesthesia. That's nothing in writing. That's just my theory. Like doctors
Sure.
could not figure out what happened to me. But I
Right.
first woke up and I eventually asked the nurse if I could go back to sleep. And she said, yeah, sure, I'll wake you back up in another few minutes. And then I heard the nurse say, oh my God, she's not breathing. And I was like, who's not breathing? Like, was there somebody else in here with me? That
What are
really
you talking
sucked.
about? Right. Okay.
Yeah, I pray that somebody's okay. And I was
Right.
praying for myself.
Okay.
So the next thing I know, and no one ever told me the whole time that I stopped breathing. Like, so that was already an out of body experience that
Sure.
I had. The next thing I know, I was in complete, absolute pitch black darkness.
Interesting.
And I felt all of my relatives, my, one of my grandparents, a couple of them were still alive, the ones that had passed, other loved ones that had passed, I felt them around me.
Okay.
I knew the direction my grandma was standing in. I knew where they were. I couldn't see them.
Okay.
And then I felt the most intense, beautiful, insane amount of love and peace. Like I'm gonna start crying how like it was so amazing. Like our human bodies can't contain or fathom the amount of love and peace that is there. And as I'm like saying hi to them, even though I'm still seeing blackness, I can't see
Sure.
a thing.
Right.
I'm chatting with them and like so happy to be here. I immediately forget that I have a body and have a life on earth.
Sure. Sure.
And I hear a voice, and I don't know if it was God, Jesus, or what. It was a higher power
Right.
that said, sorry, child, you got to go back. And I was like, go back where?
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm good. Grandma's here. I get to chit chat with her, not in a dream anymore. And
right.
And he was like, no, you have to go back. And I argued.
Oh my goodness.
Arguing with the higher power.
Yeah. And my relatives started saying, they're right. You gotta go. Like you're not done yet. And so finally I was like, oh, fine. And so the next thing I remember, I woke up and I had doctors and nurses all around me. I felt zero pain. Good. And I was very confused. I don't want to get into graphic details, but different things were happening to my body. And I didn't understand why. I remember what the doctors were saying. They thought I had a pulmonary embolism, which I did not.
Wow.
And they were trying to say I had a heart attack, which I did not.
Scary.
So it turns out when your heart stops and restarts, so they restarted me with an epinephrine shot, your heart releases some proteins that are similar to a heart attack.
Yes.
So I remember all of this, and I remember like getting a port to my heart through my neck, and I remember all of the vivid, graphic, gory details. And eventually doctors told me I had less than a 5% chance of survival. And I was like, wow, God really didn't need me yet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot to process. How on earth did you sort that out?
So I didn't for a while because I didn't fully have time to comprehend where I went. And I couldn't talk because of what happened to me. I couldn't have a breathing tube in my mouth because I had stents in my nose.
Okay.
So I had to work back on breathing on my own. And that was really hard. So it took a while to just be able to really have lengthy conversations again. But I just found out, was it last year, why I only saw black.
Okay, let's hear it.
Which is crazy, like 10 years, almost. It was just before my 10-year anniversary went by.
Okay.
I was getting ordained by the Order of Melchizedek, and the gentleman, the reverend that was leading, oh my gosh, this is bad. Reverend Dan.
Okay.
And he was leading everything. So we were going around talking around the room, and he mentioned near-death experience and seeing black. And I like, my hand went up immediately, and I was like, I have been trying to figure out for 10 years why I've only seen black. And what he said just blew my mind. But he said, well, Sarah, before God created light, there was darkness.
Correct.
You went to that space of pure love before light was invented. And I was like,
right.
I need like a few weeks to process this.
Well, because it doesn't fit the norm. And the description, unfortunately, our Puritan relatives, and all well-intended, I have to preface it by saying that, our Puritan
for all you
relatives,
Puritans out there.
yes, it was always, white is good, black is bad, light is good, dark is bad, whatever.
Right.
And so it's so neat to cross over and see that love is of no color.
Yeah.
And what's wonderful, right? So what's wonderful is black is not even a real color in the light spectrum. It's the absence of color.
Because it's all the light. It's all
Correct.
of the color.
It's everything. Yes. And so that's absolutely blissful. I love that. That is,
it was really cool.
amazing.
I actually cried whenever he told me that. I just cried, and then like I'm cracking up now. My voice is cracking. And then even days later, when I would think of it again, I would start crying. Like, that's why I start tearing up every time I think about this place.
Of course.
Is because it felt so incredible. And when I have clients that, tell me like, well, I'm scared to die. And I'm like, I've been there. Don't be scared.
Right.
Yeah.
It is it is magical. It is everything you weren't told it would be. It's amazing.
Correct. Right.
It's hard for our human brains to like understand the concept of something just being absolute pure love. And that's, it was amazing. I feel so fortunate that I remember every single thing still, almost 11 years later. And
that's
I could
beautiful.
still tell you what my ICU nurse looked like.
That's awesome.
They were amazing. If they're listening to this, thank you all.
Nice.
It was incredible. So after that, I started having, the typical story after an NDE, near-death experience. You have more abilities and more things that happen. And for most of my life already being woo-woo enough, definitely got accelerated after that. I started having more vivid dreams, and not just of my relatives, but of others. And eventually that led to having an experience with an acquaintance that I barely knew, and his grandma came to me, and that freaked me out. So because I knew everything about her, I knew what side of the family she came on. And so I finally told him, because we weren't that good of friends.
Right.
And I finally told him about it, and he freaked out, and he's upset at me for telling him, like, how do you think I feel? I need help.
Right.
Right.
So then I found a psychic medium.
Did you see her? Did you actually see her?
She came to me in a meditation, in like a dream.
Okay.
And she, so, and he said exactly how I described her was spot on. And we never talked about past relatives or anything like that.
Right.
So I made an appointment with a psychic medium. I said, I need help. And she said, you could do what I'm doing. And I was in grad school at the time, getting my master's in countering weapons of mass destruction. Haven't told you all that one yet. And so I said, all right, I'm in for training. I'm in for classes. I just need to get through my master's. I was also working full time while I was in school.
Wow.
So I was like, I need to get through one school before I start the other, but I'm in. And that's how my journey really started, was this person's grandma coming forward and launching me down this path that I was slowly meandering down. Yeah.
So with the kind of not enhanced, but more a little bit more sensitive to the powers, did you, like, really starting the journey, did you feel overwhelmed? Like, cause I mean, I gotta imagine, how did you learn to deal with it? I mean, is it just over time acceptance, or?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And that is not a linear answer.
Right.
Healing is not linear, and neither is any of this. There's stuff that happens regularly that still freaks me out, and I need time to process. So, one of my first meditations, Jesus came to me and put like a hand on my head. I had shingles at the time. After I finished grad school, I got shingles. So,
wow, ouch.
School is for fools. And Jesus came to me in meditation, put a hand on my side where the shingles was, a hand on my head, said, I'll take what pain I can take away, but you need to slow down. Like, this is happening for a reason. I didn't know how to talk after that. I'm like, what just happened? Like, I grew up with Jesus. I still pray to Jesus, but
right.
Homeboy's here. Like, I know what he smells like now. This is
what cologne he's using.
Right.
Yeah, this is so crazy. And so stuff like that happens. I had and what my teacher always said, and what I still really truly tell other people too, because some of my friends think like this might have to be their journey as well because I'm in it. And like, no, just because it's my journey doesn't mean it's yours. I don't expect you to believe in it. Right. I just need your love and your support and just stay beside me. Like, you don't have to believe in any of it. I don't have to talk. I have my posse I could talk to about it. I've got certain people. So I'm dating a guy. We were pretty serious at the time. We were talking about moving in and, discussing, how long in the future about, getting married and everything.
Wow. So that's big stuff.
Yeah. We took a vacation, a trip to Israel, to Tel Aviv. So this is about a year into my training classes.
Okay.
And so the classes aren't back to back, by the way, because you need time to process everything. So there might be a 3-month gap or something between classes. So I'm probably in my second or third class. And we go to Israel, and it's our last night there. And we'd been arguing quite a bit. And so I'd been upset. And I mean, it's Israel. There's the most amazing history that you like. I was sitting on the Mediterranean, and I'm like, I bet Jesus sat here.
Right.
This is so cool. I guarantee. And then I went to the port at Old City of Jaffa, where King Harold brought in the equipment to build the Temple on the Mount. And so I'm in this amazing magical place, and it's right after Christmas. So something happens. We walk by this old jail. This jail they ended up remaking into, I think it was a hotel and a restaurant. We tried to get into the restaurant. No, they're like, nothing. Like, sorry, you can't even get a drink in here. Okay. So we just walked by, and I felt different. At the time, I didn't know what this meant. I started getting really dizzy. And I needed him. I couldn't even see straight. And we needed to get a taxi to go back to the hotel, get our bags, go to the airport. We're literally leaving. Okay. And I literally can't walk. And he's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't know. I need to sit down. We need to find a taxi ASAP. My vision wasn't straight. Wow. I'm smiling. So I'm like, this was such a lesson learned in my career. Yes. So we get to the hotel. I'm not as dizzy. I could walk, I could see straight, but I'm still not right. Yeah. And we're in a rush because, of course, there's traffic. And we finally get to the airport, and he's like, are you feeling better? And I'm like, no, I don't feel right. And when you're going through all these spiritual classes and stuff, you're way more in tune to your body. And yes, you are. Like pollen's affecting my eyes right now. And this started weeks ago, but now, of course, it's like you're just more in tune with what is interacting with your body. And even drugs like Tylenol affects me differently now. So he like kind of just shrugs it off, like, 'cause I'm just a weirdo in general. And like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like I just need more water. Right. So we make the flight home, direct flight, and we get back to my house to shower, relax. I think football was on. I think it was a Sunday.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I'll go to the grocery store and get some food for us because we've been gone for a week or whatever the trip was. Okay. And I forgot all about how weird I was feeling.
Okay.
So I get to the grocery store. Oh my gosh. And this sounds crazy to say out loud. I haven't told too many people about this story. So I get to the grocery store and I forget what I was getting.
Okay.
Constantly. I was supposed to get like chicken wings, like, chips and salsa, like basically 5 things that you would get to watch a football game with.
Sure.
I ended up not realizing it, like pushing my cart, which I rarely get a cart as well. I try to get stuff in my hands, and then of course that backfires and my hands are overloaded. But so I have a cart and I'm pushing it around, and he calls me and he is like, what are you doing? You've been gone for over an hour. Grocery store's 10 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? Holy crap. What did I come for? So he had to stay on the phone with me for me to remember. So we kind of like chucked it up to like jet lag.
Right.
And so I drive back home and I start getting dizzy again. And I start having trouble breathing. Like my airways are, my neck is getting choked. So I come inside the house and he was like, what kind of groceries did you get? You were gone for an hour and a half. I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I'm like, I wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And we unload groceries. He like put stuff in the oven, making whatever I picked up. And I'm like, I think I need to go lay down. I'm going to go to bed for just a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I went upstairs, I have 2 cats and I was petting one of my cats, and it was actually like a set of hands was around my throat squeezing.
Okay.
And then with my third eye, I saw the hands and they were gross and dirty and they were disgusting. And all I saw was the hands. I didn't see the body that was attached to them.
Okay.
And so immediately I'm like, what the F do I do?
Exactly.
Oh my God. And so I start panicking, my breathing, like everything is like, this is a new threat I've never thought of my whole life.
Yeah.
Now I have to fight things that I can't see and I can't push against. I do MMA, like I can fight people.
Right.
But so I immediately messaged my teacher and was like, ASAP, I need help, and I'm freaking out.
Right.
So I don't know what to do. So I end up lighting some sage, like a sage stick, and running downstairs and having my ex smudge me. And I'm like, do I need clothes on? Do I need clothes off? I don't know what the rules are for this. I don't know what's going on. This thing needs to go.
I love it. I love it.
Does it help if it's bare skin that the smoke's touching you?
Right.
And he has no idea. He's not a part of this world. So he's like, and I don't want to freak him out, but oh man. So my teacher ended up walking me through what to do.
Good.
And calming me down. And it was a massive lesson learned. So he saw my light. I call it a lighthouse that light workers have. And this dude saw my lighthouse and he saw an escape route from Israel. And
looking for a place to latch on. Yep.
Like this is probably the first time I've told this story outside of my friend circle.
Well, we are very honored. So crazy. We're honored to hear this story. No, but I'm very glad you're sharing this, because one of the things that I've done in my lifetime is some demonology things and dealing with negative energy. And oftentimes, for anybody listening, just for our viewers to kind of bring you along in this, when you go to a new place, when you go somewhere different, it is oftentimes when you will encounter something that you are not anticipating. And it doesn't mean that there's bad stuff everywhere looking to jump on you, but be aware of your body. Being aware of your body is really important. And just as a rule to consider or to remember, things that are of a negative energy like to hook onto the back of our necks. That is the spot they like to grab onto. And so when I am in a crowd, I see demons on people, and it's 9 times out of 10, And I mean that literally. 9
Yeah,
times out of
goosebumps.
10, they're on the back of people's necks hanging on.
Yeah.
And
I've
so,
seen them hold on their shoulder.
yes.
Like they have to have attachment somewhere. Yeah.
So they have to have permission to be there. And so for anyone listening, whether you are an avid Christian churchgoer or not, I don't care. I was raised in church. I understand it and I love God. I love Jesus. I also died 12 years ago. I know what you're talking about. Yes, I had a heart attack. So let me say to everyone here that's listening, whether you are of faith, whether you believe in God or not, there's good and bad in the world, just like there's good people and bad people. So just acknowledge the fact that there's a possibility. If you believe there might be Bigfoot, if you believe there might be a UFO, then consider the possibility that there could be things that would be bad to you. You don't have to believe in demons. That's not required, but they can still mess with you. And so you can take away their permission by rebuking them and by focusing your energy and keeping love and light around you, because they cannot stay where they're not welcome.
Yep.
They have
There's
to
just
have a
one.
reason to be there. And
I
so,
tell
Yeah.
people that it's boundaries, to have the intent of setting a boundary that
That's
they have
correct.
to obey.
that's correct. Because no matter what, you always, as a human being, have spiritual authority over your body and where you live. You're the boss. And you can take over anything yucky and send it running. Or if it has permission to be where it's at, you can still govern their activity level. And I will say this a million times. I do not advocate talking to bad spirits or energies ever. You tell them what they're going to do. You don't ask questions ever. Do not engage. Do not.
So, will you two tell me if there's something hanging off my neck, please? That would be super.
You're good.
Okay, cool. All
Yeah,
right.
nothing bad there.
So, I mean, you have had experiences with a negative or malignant, I guess, entity. Do you feel that they are demons? Do you feel that they're another sort of entity? I mean, help me understand.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't use the word demon too often, but yes, sometimes definitely that. Sometimes I've done a house clearing where there was, I don't know the name for what I saw, but it was a bad elemental, something that was around with the creation of Earth that decided to go bad and to feed off of people. So I have seen bad things like that. I'll call that more evil, even though I like evil is such a religious term. I don't like using that either. So same as demons and evil, like that and angels are also a religious connotation, which they're only religious, and same as demons and same as evil. All of that's only religious because we had to segregate them into buckets to make people obey.
Yeah.
And you know, like you, Holly, I grew up religious. I'm still like, I pray to God. My daddy is a lay minister. I love watching him preach. I love listening to his sermons.
Nice.
And so I still do all the things I did growing up, but I just view the world differently. So
yes,
I get frustrated about how religion forced people to see the world in buckets. And
well, and here's no, that's totally fair. And so to make it in another way to discuss this is to say, like, to me, the spirit world is far larger than the physical world. And so the things that are in it are vast and wide and far and beyond. And so in order to quantify them into tangible levels of information, I think you're right, Sarah. I think that they've been put in boxes just for people to grasp because it's too much. It's too much. I don't spend time learning the names of things that are evil. I just see them and know them.
Yeah.
That's you don't have to know the name of something to get rid of it. You just need to know it doesn't belong where it is.
Sure. I've seen I mean, gosh, so many different things, like the typical shadow people that are bad that'll morph
Right.
into something else.
Right.
Even the like lizard person, like an alien, like a lizard
Oh,
person. I don't
reptilian.
know if you guys
Yeah.
Oh,
saw-
wow.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I've seen that in a house clearing before, and it looked like, I can't make this up because it's unexpected, right? This thing's coming at my face,
Oh, wow.
and it looked like Venom from the comic books.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
Like
God,
that,
I
like,
love
looked
it.
like with the teeth and
Yes.
the eyes and like
Yes.
even the same colors. Like it looked just like Venom.
Oh
Wow.
man.
So yeah,
Uh,
so
this
it's an
is a
interest.
this is a poop in your Pampers moment. I'm just throwing that out there because if I saw something like that, I'd be checking my watch. Woo, getting late, gotta go. You know.
Nope, not me. I that comes at me. Nope, you're out. You're messing with the wrong girl.
Right. Me too.
I am more powerful than you. You
Yep.
do not belong here. You are
That's
not
right.
harming these people.
Yep. That's right. Well,
Mm.
and I have to say, Jason, something that
Yeah.
might make you feel a little bit better. It is very common for negative energies to basically, for lack of another term, imagine in an animated moment something going and blowing
Yeah.
themselves up and making themselves look much bigger than they really are.
Gotcha.
And it's to scare you because they eat our negative energy like we eat chocolate cream pie. I mean, it is their delicacy. It is their escargot. It is their chicken wings at football. It's their favorite. And
Yeah.
so if they can blow you away, they are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. That's their job. And so when you're doing things from the other end of it, the spectrum, like what Sarah and I have done, it's like that's not part of it. You see right through it and you see they're full of nonsense. But as long as you remember it, they're just doing their job. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to scare the beans out of you. And they will find what your triggers are. They will figure out what scares you into pamper moments. And they will take you there as quick as they can because that's how they get what they need.
Right.
That's
So-
how they get their food.
That's
So,
right. That's how they eat.
So to a layman,
Yes.
they feed off energy then.
Correct.
I've also heard the term of humans doing that as in like psychic vampires,
Yes.
going
Yes.
and feeding us. And I've had that experience a couple times where I've been with someone that I don't know if it's conscious or not, right? But
Right.
by the time you're done talking to them or the time they walk away or whatever, you feel physically drained. Like
Yes.
I've just got done playing 2 football games in a row,
Right.
and after I started hearing about like psychic vampires, some stuff, it just clicked. Like, oh, okay, yeah. Do people carry that around unconsciously?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
do. Okay.
Well, and
Yeah.
you have to think of it in terms also of what is the person's programming? Were they raised in a really negative house? Is
Right.
this the way, is this their normal? Your normal and my normal is not the same.
Yeah.
We're all a little different, but there's definitely something to be said for environment. And so could they have an attachment that makes it worse? Absolutely. Could they be this way naturally? Yeah. There are some people, like I have a very dear friend that I adore, that was actually fired from a job after 22 years for being so negative.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
You can be too negative for your own good.
Yeah. And that's and going down the spiritual route, I have had to shed some friends because I just couldn't. There were too much energy vampires, and
Yep.
yeah, like depression happens to everyone. It's happened to me. It's a
Right.
natural human thing to go through,
Absolutely.
but they chose to stay in it, and
Yes.
they were actively choosing to stay and wallow and not remove themselves from the depression. Like for months, they were choosing to stay in it. Lots of people offered help, and so finally I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have energy for you now. Like,
Right.
And it's a hard thing to cut, but it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Well, because we want to help each other, and humankind, it feels good to be good. It feels
Yeah.
good to be kind and thoughtful and generous. And when you're empathic at all, and you have empathy in leaps and bounds, Jason. You're very good at being empathetic towards people. And that is a trait that psychic vampires will exploit to no end.
Mhm.
You know, and so a wonderful example I got recently, there was a lady that does training from the FBI that was part of the security team for the president. And she explained one way to keep yourself from getting sucked into this type of behavior is to imagine someone having issues as being in a snow globe. And so all of their drama is the snow blowing around them. You're not a part of it. You're not in it. It's not you. It's all around them. And you can allow yourself mentally to stay at a distance and just watch the nonsense.
That is a beautiful visual. That's a good one.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so definitely it's helps, because when you're empathic at all, and I do genuinely believe that everyone has it in them, they just don't activate it at all times. And so
Agreed.
I do believe that we all have this communication level that's on a spiritual realm. I really do.
Yeah, 100% of humans are born with the ability to be a psychic medium. It's weeded out of us when we're little. We're told it's woo-woo and to ignore it. And I constantly see now this newer generation, kids being born now, or kids that are middle school, early high school, some of them older high school. They're so much more in tune with their emotions. Like this generation that's growing up, I can't wait to see what they're going to do, because they're so much more in tune with this, and technology is advancing.
Right.
So I see so many more kids that have abilities and their parents are actually welcoming it or reaching out to me to ask for help. Like, what do I do? And it's amazing, the stories that I've heard, and including even like my own niece. I have a little niece that just turned 4, and I have stories that just sound so crazy and so beautiful at the same time.
Right.
So I'm sorry, this is kind of like a side tangent.
That's
but
okay.
I'm really happy that this generation growing up is who they are. They're waking up, and that's what our jobs are. That's what you guys are doing. You're helping spread the news of waking people up, and very exciting. Thank you all for doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the funnest parts about this, is hearing, number one, this type of phenomenon is so very personal. When someone has seen a UFO or Bigfoot, or seen a ghost, or felt a ghost, or smelled a ghost, or whatever the situation may be. I have a ghost that visits me regularly that smells like cigarettes.
Yeah.
I have another one that smells like women's cologne. I mean, everything is unique and in its own way, and it's wonderful. But I agree. I mean, this has been absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, I cannot thank Jason enough for wanting to do this podcast, because it has been like this treasure chest of stories and wonderful things that people have shared with us. It's great.
I have do we have time for another mind-blowing story?
Do it.
The time in the world.
Huh?
All the time in the world.
Oh, well, I gotta go to bed eventually. I'll still need some beauty sleep. But so this was later on in my training classes, my classes. So I'm not quite certified yet. But every time I have either a reading or I do a house clearing, I do like even meditations, I would learn so much. I would tap into past lives, which I don't know, that might need its own other hour to talk about past life stuff.
Right.
But so one night I'm hanging out with some not blood related family, but found family, people that I found, family here. So I live in Virginia, covered that. I'm from Missouri. Fourth generation farmer. So I'm a farm girl, farmer's daughter, and my whole family, I have 2 brothers and mom and dad. Everybody still lives in Missouri. So one of my brothers is a cop just south of St. Louis. And one night he texted me while I was hanging out with my family locally in Virginia. He texted me and he was like, I'm just really worried. There's this like SWAT team going out. Some of them are my friends. A guy kidnapped somebody. I think he used the word kidnap, but that's what processed in my brain. He might have used a different word, but he was just, worried. So he was like, could you send up a few extra prayers? So Archangel Michael is the God's protector, and he's the one I first ask for protection before I do anything.
Nice.
I ask for his light bubble around me, bounce off anything. I only love and light gets in my space, in my house, in my property. But Archangel Michael is known as Saint Michael for cops and first responders. So he's also their protector. And that's a well-known thing for them. So my brother's texted me about, Archangel Michael, and he's not asking me to do any psychic work or anything.
Right.
But it just starts flowing in. And I start texting him, and I'm like, Nick, there's going to be a shootout. And he was like, wait, what? It's like, there's actually going to be a shootout. There's going to be an officer that's going to be shot. So we're texting back and forth. And I finally come home, and I'm all fired up because I'm having trouble texting because, one, I'm not used to being so open about this stuff. I'm not used to trusting what I get because the science brain is super activated. So,
right, sure.
And I'm having a hard time grasping what I'm seeing. So he's finally like, just spit it out. Just tell me what you're seeing. I don't care if it's like whatever. This is going to help no matter what. So like, okay, well, a sniper needs to be on the east side of the house. There's a door, there's a window or something. When he runs out of ammo, he's going to crawl out of the door, and it's going to be a kill shot to the head.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty specific.
Yes,
okay,
it is.
All right, Sarah, I'll you know what? I'll actually let the officer in charge know. And I just kept seeing this man. It was, I still didn't know if it was a door or window, but there were bushes around. And I was like, Nick, the sniper needs to be, it's the east side of the house. It's to the right. Like, if you're looking at the front of the house, it's to the right, whatever direction east that is.
Okay.
So I'm like fired up. I'm like, this is really happening. I get to help cops. This is amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I need to calm down. I take a shower, and in the shower, I see Archangel Michael. So my version of him, he's going to look different to everybody else, right? So depending on your religious upbringing or whatever. So my version of him, he kneels down on the ground and bows his head down. And I knew the officer had been shot.
Oh.
So I get out of the shower, and I grab my phone to let my brother know the officer is going to be okay.
Right.
Like he was shot. Like, I knew exactly where he was shot in the body. It was like lower abdomen. It missed all major organs.
Nice.
So I go to text my brother that the officer will be okay. And I get a text from him that says officer down.
Right.
And I'm like, what is happening in my life?
Right.
Just another Tuesday.
Right.
And so I tell my brother, I'm like, okay, he's shot here, because my brother's not on scene.
Okay.
By the way, so he's not physically present. So he's relaying what I'm getting and telling about the sniper and everything. He's relaying that through text to the officer in charge.
Right.
That is on scene. So eventually I go to bed. And I wake up in the morning to text from him that say exactly what I predicted. Like, officer was, of course, okay. He was shot exactly where I said. I think I said right side. He might have been shot on the left side, but it was like the same type area. And also, dude, they ran out of ammo about, I want to say like an hour after I said, like, he's gonna run out of ammo soon. Ran out of ammo about the same time I said, and also he tried to climb out of a window on the side of the house that I said he would, and that's how they killed him.
Incredible.
Very cool.
Yeah, like, my mind exploded for a while after that one.
Of course.
Like, I want to help cops. Like, this would be so cool. Was this just like a one-off thing? I don't know any of these answers.
Right. Yes, I have a very dear friend named Lori that I just lost last year that was a very integral part of the Beaverton, Oregon Police Department. And she helped them solve many, many cases. And her husband, check this out, was a detective that was working on a case. And some people at the department said, you need to contact her for help on this case. And he said, a psychic? Are you kidding? what? And so, and then he started hearing from some of the other officers that, wow, there was a lot of evidence that she had been very instrumental in a lot of these cases. And so he went to her office and asked if he could take her out to coffee, because he couldn't wrap his logical brain around this concept that how can something from nothing become real?
Yeah. And I don't need, we don't need tools. I need my brain. I need some water. Water is important.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
It was absolutely cool. And so then I was like, oh, I want to do this more often, but also, no, do I really want to do that? I'm such everything is glitter, optimistic type person. I don't know.
And that's very heavy.
Yeah, I was working in weapons of mass destruction environment at the time too. So I was using my master's degree. So that was heavy as well. So I was yeah, no, maybe not. Next time he asks me for help, I'll do it, but I won't reach out.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Wow. We may have to have an episode of Sarah Gamm SWAT team. And I'm throwing this out there. I'm spitballing here, right?
I like ideas. Let's brainstorm.
Oh yeah. Your bulletproof vest has got glitter on it, right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Glitter is a must.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe some yellow somewhere there too.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Right? Why not? It says, SWAT in yellow.
Right. Psychic SWAT.
Psychic
Oh,
SWAT.
that's awesome.
Right? Yeah, that's
totally
it. Yep, we got to do that, Sarah. We totally got to do that.
I can't wait to tell my brother about this. He's gonna love it.
I am all about solutions here. That's what we're doing.
I appreciate that. I had no idea we were going to be brainstorming like this tonight. So I'm glad I have my notebook out.
Yeah. This is all a scientific experiment. We're spitballing here.
Absolutely.
I mean, all of life kind of is an experiment.
Yes. So can we talk for a moment about Phenom? About how that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good question. So for others that don't know out there that have no idea what we're talking about right now, so Phenom, one of my very good friends, he's developing an app, and it is to report UFOs or UAPs, depending if you want to use the cool new term, and just anything unidentified really. So eventually he wants to make it to where you could report ghosts and that kind of stuff too.
Oh, nice.
But right now it is specifically for unidentified objects in the air. And it could do, you get all kinds of metadata, you turn the app on, you hit record, and it'll give you the direction you're looking, bearing, I think altitude, I don't know, I could be making that one up. But it is fully out there right now for Android, and it's only in the test phase for Apple right now, but it should be released fully for Apple by the end of this month. Nice. Or if not the end of this month, like the first week into May. So how I got involved with them was when I was working for the government, for the Department of Defense. I got interested. I kind of injected myself, honestly. I didn't get interested. I just jumped in the deep end, and I didn't let anybody take me out of the water. I refused.
Right, gotcha.
But it was the UAPs. So before AARO, AARO, I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's the task force that the government has, congressional money for now, and they're standing up. Sean Kirkpatrick is the leader of it. So before that was AARO, it was something else, and before that it was a task force, and then I jumped in with the task force. Literally did not take no. We needed to find Mulder's sister. She's out there. The truth is out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so through that group, I met Logan, who's the leader of Phenom, and Kevin. So Kevin is operating the West Coast branch out. He's in Southern Washington, Long Beach area, Northern Oregon. So he's operating the branch out there and doing ghost hunts. So we do ghost hunts. I'm the psychic medium. I tap in. He'll actually do a hunt. He did a hunt. I forget what the hotel was. That's beautiful. We actually went there when I visited for the ghost conference.
Oh, right.
But it was cool seeing the hotel in person and not through a laptop through Zoom, because he holds the laptop and and takes the laptop around to show me. So I do my psychic medium stuff while he's walking around. And yeah, so Logan's kind of the keeper of all things. He's a skeptic, healthy skeptic.
Nice.
He's developing the app, and he's trying to front run getting the app into the ghost world, the spirit world as well. So everything's overlapped.
So is Logan in your area?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's in Northern Virginia.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So is there anything that you would like to get out there, books, videos, you name it? This is the time to hype it up.
So cross promotion of Phenom, perhaps.
Yeah, so yeah, Phenom, definitely. I am still, I joke that I science and not English. So I'm still in the baby phases of starting my business, my psychic mediumship business.
Okay.
I have a website. I'm a Reiki master. I'm certified advanced IET, integrated energy therapy. I could do I could do so many things. I've signed up for Akashic Galactic reading class that starts in a few weeks. So yeah, so I'm going to be eventually a jack of all trades, I think, and figure out where this journey goes.
Nice.
But I'm so happy to be a part of Phenom. I feel so fortunate. I would love, what I foresee with Phenom one day is being able to, you know, if the app is like producing, hopefully people will start downloading it. Like that'd be one awesome. So, and it also will triangulate. So once you report something, so somebody, you know, down the road from you will get a ping that's in your friend group and say, go outside, look in this direction, look up, what do you see? So with that, I'm also hoping once we get something triangulated,
What's the name of that app?
Phenom.
Oh, the app is actually called Phenom.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's called Phenom. Yeah.
Okay.
The like the icon to whenever you look for it is a red, like kind of a triangle type thing, like what you would see on a UFO. UFO, but it's red, red icon. So yeah, so thinking along the lines of if something is triangulated, reported in the future, perhaps if there's an actual incident, I could go visit, verify, because I could actually tap into residual energy in an area as well. So like if you watch, you know, alien UFO movies right now, documentaries, I should say. If you watch the documentaries, I can actually see what the residual energy is of an area. So I was watching one the other day and it talked about a crash site, and I could feel the beings terrified, like that crash there. So I knew, I'm like, wow, these people aren't lying. That actually, I could feel the fear that's imprinted in the land.
Right.
And the impact and everything. So hopefully one day we will Nirvana Day, and we're good. I'm gonna mark it within 2 years. This is gonna happen.
Excellent.
And I'll be able to work with Phenom more often.
That'd be cool.
You know, it has been wonderful talking to you. We're gonna have to get you back on again because I one of the subjects that I am really just into is past life regression.
Yes.
You see, I was a history major in college, so to me, when I hear these type of stories, it is endlessly fascinating.
Yes.
So
and there are endless stories because we are eternal souls.
Yes.
Right. That's fantastic. So Sarah, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a hoot.
Yes.
I just
thank you.
Yeah, I am amazed by your journey, and I can't wait to hear more. And so thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful, and I am so happy to talk about past lives one day.
Yes, absolutely. That would be great.
Holly, any famous last words?
Stay tuned for much more wonderful goodness coming up, folks. We have a lot of really cool people coming. In fact, we are going to be having the godfather of Sasquatch coming on soon from New York. So please stay tuned. We have a very busy week ahead of us. And we have a dear friend of mine coming soon, hopefully. Her name is Colette Brown. You can find her on YouTube. She is a grandmother psychic. I highly recommend her, Sarah. You might want to check her out.
Yeah.
She's written many books on psychic journeys and stories, and there's just, the list goes on and on. We have been so blessed. This is still a fledgling podcast by all rights, and we have been absolutely blessed with stories. I had a one-on-one talk with someone in an Uber. My Uber driver told me a story, and I'm hoping to get her on here because it was absolutely mind-boggling, absolutely incredible. So yeah, we got lots more coming, folks. Hang on to your butts.
That's right. I was waiting for that line. Hang on to your butts. Now, folks, again, I've got to tell you, just as a public service announcement, please hold on to both cheeks. just throwing that out there. But Sarah, thank you again for coming on. It's been awesome talking to you.
Yes.
Thank you guys. It's been wonderful talking with you all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging. Yeah. Thanks for creating a safe space for everyone that comes forward.
Yeah.
All right. For Holly, this is Jason and Sarah, and we will see you next time on Midnight Alchemy. Toodles.